I can tell you that I'm not going to change my old ways. And my old ways are, you got to give, and I say this all the time. Oh, I think I got to do one more thing before I get started. Just in case of emergencies. Okay, I did it. All right, cool. One of the things that I say is you have to give up looking for stuff to find it. You have to give up, you go around looking for something like, it should be here. Why isn't it here? Why the hell is it not here? God bless it. Why isn't it here? It was here a moment ago. You have to just basically go up, move on to something completely different, sleep on it, and then you'll find it. And what I'm talking about is, we had drilled out all of these Shermans, and we tried to use the sprue to do the little loops, and I did it on the King Tiger, but it was too brittle. So I'm like, I probably could use that wire that I was used to use to bind the tracks down. That turned out really well, copper wire. Went everywhere looking for it. In the drawers where it should have been, it wasn't there on the table, it wasn't here, it wasn't in any of the places that I keep any of my stuff. I spent, 30 minutes yesterday looking for it at the beginning of my show, towards the beginning of the show. Never found it. Woke up this morning, had breakfast, came over here, I'm like, all right, I'm going to look for it one more time, because it couldn't have just vanished in thin air. I mean, it couldn't have. I mean, it's like, unless you're living with a ghost here, and if you believe in that sort of thing. A ghost that can move things. So I'm putzing around, and I found it. You want to know where it is? It was kind of in the right area. Back here. There. So I'm glad I don't have to buy any more of this stuff, because it's literally the exact size I want. So I don't have to go all the way into town, which is a hassle. And, of course, now I'm time sensitive. I want to get all this shit done. I would have done this yesterday and primed them. Oh well, shit happens. Sometimes you need to take a loss as a win. Shit happens, and sometimes that shit happens to me. And it happens to all of you. I don't have any shag carpet. I don't have any carpet in the house. So, I can't lose things on I still lose things on the floor. Doesn't happen very often. But, anyhow. Onward and upward. We have a whole session we're going to talk like that. Driving myself crazy. All right. Let's start with this son of a bitch. Now, what I really dislike about what I'm about to do is I have to use super glue. I really don't like that. So, as a safety precaution, I'll go ahead and put it on here. And then we'll dip the piece in and use it as we need to. Safety, because I don't want to get it on stuff that I don't want to get it on. All right, we have to re-drill this now, because this is sealed shut. Not only that, but it's like I lost a divot out of it too. Now, hopefully, this fits in there and is not just a tiny bit too big. I swear this didn't used to happen when I was a kid. Exacto knives that you tighten them down as much as you wanted to and it still comes undone. All right. Rough start? No, it was a rough start yesterday. Yesterday was the rough start. I found the cable, the wire. Rough start yesterday. All right. Now we have no idea what size to make these things, but we're going to need tweezers. We're going to need to make one. Let's get let's get rid of this crap on the end here. And use it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Now, you got to give up looking for something to find something. That's the equivalent of you got to get somebody else to help you look for it. And it was kind of in the right place, but it wasn't. This may not be as easy as I thought it was going to be. All right, let's go about this a little bit differently. Let's take a fresh end. Thank you. Don't start with me. I'll take it out of people at work. They make a roundy thing. I don't think I have one. Man, if I did, it's probably too big a diameter if I do. Is there anything that I have that's small enough to wrap around something? That's too big of a diameter. Those are too big. Those are too big. All we got to do is make one successfully. Oh, I think we found one. Yep, let's try this. Oh, dissertation time. Let's see what we got here. I'm sure without knowing it, the people at work are happy you did some morning modeling. No kidding. I know that goes for me, yeah. I got too many problems at work. None of them that are caused by me. And they just allow too many mistakes to go unfixed. You know, it's okay to make mistakes. We all do, but don't make the same goddamn mistake day after day. And then don't get rid of that person. All right, enough about work. And then those of us that stay there year after year, it's like every person that leaves, like, oh, guess what? Here's more on your plate. It's like, man, why have you done the same job for 30-something years? Because I can't get away from it. Because every time I try to, if I were to try to do something else, it'd be even more work that I didn't ask for thrown on top of me. I'm like, I've got enough. I'm just riding this shit out. I'm just gonna ride this shit out. What would I want to make it even more difficult to take vacation days than I already have, than it already is? Look at that shit right there. All right, now, how do I get that in there? And all I got to do is reproduce that a million times. Now I got to make one. I don't have to make this one, it's already made. We're going to count it also. 1, 2, 3, 4. And another 4 is 8. And the regular Shermans have, them 4s from Armor Fast have 3 each. So that is 14. I need to make 14 of these things. And let's make sure it fits on this top one. Yeah, but it doesn't go down deep enough. What's up with that? That's spot on. That's spot on. Excellent. Coffee refresh time. Back a couple minutes. That's too much. Well, I don't have more than one of these before I go to work. I'm opening. I'm hoping I solved the California coffee shop problem with this new person. Yeah. So you have one Messiah. Yep. I hope I have enough time to do all this. Well, at least I. Okay, so now I don't have to waste the time to go into town and go to this damn store to buy something I already had. Now, how close did we get it? I think that's going to be close enough. I think we can reproduce these the old-fashioned way. You say coffee refresh, and the first thing I think of is, but coffee's not very refreshing. I don't even like the taste of coffee. I know that sounds weird, but it just tastes like unavenged hatred. I'm gonna get my revenge on you, but I'll still need to have some more coffee. Hold on a second. Let me build up the strength to do it. I can tinker with this if we need to. like anything on the right hand side of me. I like to cozy up to the bar. So to speak. All right. Fighting with you. Getting on my nerves, pal. Here we go. So we're going to go down about 4 mil. So all of your hopes were on one person you hired. That's man better than you than me. I'm already thinking about selling the place. I just don't have the personality for that. You know, my mom had an incident this weekend. She has a couple houses that I guess her and my dad were using as an investment. Nothing extravagant, but just standard 1,700, 1,800 square foot house. She's using it as an investment. And she has renters. And she's had horror stories with the renters. And they're not in a bad neighborhood. And she does background checks on the renters and stuff like that. But there's all these issues that keep coming up that she confided to me. She's like, well, this house is going to end up being, for you and your wife, after I'm gone. And I know you're probably just going to sell it immediately. And I'm like, now hold on a second. I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, I haven't really thought about it because that's kind of like, I'm not thinking about that kind of stuff. But it just depends how much of a pain in the ass it is. If you're having it, and there's a difference between having it, dealing with it now, and dealing with it when I'm retired. Dealing with it when I'm retired, I hopefully don't have anything else to do. So I'm thinking that it won't be as big of a pain in the ass. But if I had to deal with that shit now when I got home from work, yeah, I'd go fucking crazy. Deal with other kind of problems. So anyway, what ended up happening? So one of the refrigerators went out. So she had to order another refrigerator. So they went to deliver the refrigerator, and something happened with a water connection. The water connection didn't work. And then they go, and the house is, the guy that's renting the house has a good record, and he's fine and everything renting it. But he's like a doctor that lives 2 hours away. And he has the house here because he has to have a house nearby because he's divorced, and the daughters live here. And when I mean here, I mean the other town. The town of 150,000 people. Not this town of 11. So he lives here, so he had to have a house. So he's renting this house that he's barely in. So he'll be here for like a weekend, as far as I understand it. And then he's gone, he works 2 hours away. So anyways, he hasn't been in his house in a while. And they wanted to put this refrigerator in, and apparently it was a fail. Anyways, the water line broke. So on Sunday, she calls me and says, hey, I need you guys to help me out because, she's elderly. And figure out what's going on here. The entire half of the house, a third of the house, to be fair, a third of the house is under 1.5 inches of water. And it's we don't have basements here, so it's all monolithic slabs, right? It's a concrete slab underneath it, but it's carpet and stuff. So we had to go over there and and deal with that. And I'm like, it just seems like there's always issues that happen. And if I deal with them when I don't have anything else to do, it's different. If I deal with it like now on top of all the other shit that I have, it's bad. I don't know. He'll be 50% owner. Okay. How do you find someone like that? 50% owner? I bet he lives local. You got to really love what you're doing to do that kind of stuff. Like, you got to really love what you're doing to be able to. I hope these. All they got to do is just be close. I changed my mind. Let's do the shitty looking. Let's do this shitty looking armor fast ones first. I'm a bit more tolerant of things looking like crap on these things. Because whatever I'm doing is an improvement. Let's see if what I've done so far is good enough. I just can't spend all day thinking about work. Unless my work is this, right? Unless this is what I did. I can't spend all day thinking about work. I'm like fuck it. What kind of crime do I need to commit to get solitary confinement and then just be left alone? Because like even these days, what I find myself doing, like email is just going crazy. So like literally, you won't get anything for 2 hours, and then you get I'm talking about work email, and then you get an email, and when you stop what you're doing to find a stopping point, define what you're doing, to stop what you're doing, so that you can come back to it and not spend half an hour redressing it, to solve this email, another email comes in, and then another one, and then somebody stops by your office, and it's like, all right, fucking get away from me. So what I do now is if I'm working on something, I literally shut email down. I don't care if 12 other emails come in. It's like upscope, come up for air, nothing, okay, go back down. And it's like that constantly all day long. And actually, it's not always all day long, but at certain times, and it just drives me crazy. You know? And I tell my wife, it's like, man, I'm not going to do drugs just because everybody else is doing drugs going crazy. Like, nope. Because you'll say, oh, my so and so's on this stuff to stay calm. I'm like, I'm a calm person. But man, I can't be doing, I'm already doing things faster than everybody else there. I'm like, I'm not going to do better. I remember one time, a long time ago, I got, let's see, should I say chewed out? I got chewed out. I got chewed out for not going to lunch at my normal time, which, I'd go to lunch at fucking 10 o'clock in the morning because I was taking something at work by the boss. I'm like, that's the last time I didn't go to lunch at regular time. Like, don't chew me out for doing a good job. So yeah, early on, my dad's like, hey, let's go into business together. And I'm like, no. And it was the right move. I don't want to I don't want to be in that mode all day long. It's not something I love. It just pays the bills. So I would not be a good business owner. And I'd take shit personal. I don't know how you can't. Well, why do you take things personally? Because I give a fuck. Oh, you don't want me to give a fuck? Okay. Well, we can. Yeah. I'm using this super glue on purpose, so if I have to adjust something, I can. Because the other one, you're up a creek. And we all know what that creek's filled with. It was luck. I had a friend of 25 years who recommended him. This guy's operation recently burned down in the Palisades fire, so the timing was perfect. Hey, I'm glad you lost everything. Come on board. You're farther away from the fire, you know? I take it that rioting is not happening anywhere near your store, huh? I don't want to do shit and not give a fuck. You know? If I'm not going to give a fuck, I'll just get on all the slow drugs all the rest of you guys are on. Oh, whatever, dude. Whatever. Okay, well, I don't know how this is going to turn out because it looks like ass right now with all the little pieces being a different color. But I think it'll look better. Looks a little bit like Mr. Clean, you know, with with an earring that stands out like Mr. Clean. All right, where's the other turret? I was going to take it with me. Well, we don't have to do that now. We don't have to go to the bloody store. Well, I hope it works out with you with that guy. You know, we're all programmed differently, and I look and I know several people that have said, "Hey, I gave up wargaming, doing models or whatever for 20 years. What have you been doing?" "I've been busy with work." I'm like, I listen to stories like that, and I'm like, those people are probably, if it was me, I'd be looking forward to dying, so I wouldn't have to do that shit all the time. That just that's exhausting how it sounds. That's exhausting. And then you got the other people that are like, they got a new job every month. They got another job. I'm like, but then there's only one place I've ever worked at that I didn't hate going to work, and that was the hobby store. I can't say that I ever hated going to work a single day. But then that doesn't pay the bills. They're not even close. So I better not see anybody working in a hobby store upset. Because there ain't no worries there. Other than paying the bills. All right, so that means we got 8 to do. 8-2. I hope we can do it. Me too. Otherwise, I don't know when I'm going to finish this batch of DAC. DAC for the attack. Yeah. Son of a bitch. Is this still too long? Still too long from like its unwieldy standpoint. I'd like to think that this makes a difference to having done this. But it's really hard to tell with it being a different color. It's very distracting. It's like when I was a kid and I built things out of Legos. We didn't have all the fancy Lego pieces. We just had like basic Lego pieces. Like, I'm going to build a battleship or whatever the hell I'd build. I'd stick to only two colors, like black and white or like red and blue. Not like, have a random yellow piece in the middle. Like, no, fuck you. We can't do that. You're bringing chaos into my world. I'm glad I didn't go to the store, buy this, and then find this. Because this is probably enough wire to last forever. Now, let me not be a moron and put it where I put it. Yeah, there would have been no reason for that to be anywhere other than in my work area. But sometimes you just gotta walk away from things to be able to find them. So anyways, I almost got ready to say, since we're talking about the coffee shop, and I was thinking, since you revitalized it about renaming it or whatever, and I thought, I actually had a thought about renaming my channel yesterday. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which apparently you could do once a month. Well, there's a good way to drive everybody crazy. Yeah, you're the same vintage. Red, blue, green. I didn't have very many green pieces, except like the mat. It would play, I had one of those mats, and I had the moon one, right? I had the one that was gray and had like the little moon croppings here in the corner. I liked space stuff when I was a kid, but then I grew up. A huge pickup versus Lincoln logs. You know what I hate? Somebody gave me an erector set one time and I hated it. I hated an erector set. It's like hollow. It's like a skeleton. I don't want to be a steel worker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, technically this should be the last one. 8. All right. Let's see how we get on with it. Wow, we found a use for this rasp. A Tamiya tool. All right, you're a Japanese pseudo linguist. Is it Tamiya? I think that's how you say it. Tamiya. And to think we used to call it Tamaya. Like, that's wrong. That's wrong because there was a heavy cruiser called Maya. And if you're going to pronounce that Maya, what would you pronounce with Miya the same way? Moron child? Yes, I was a moron child. Yeah. And you can do that with this. You can actually grab this super glue with your fingers and not have them stuck together. I'm going to do a naughty nunu here. I actually like doing this kind of detail work with my contacts off. It's uh, it's soothing. You know, even yesterday when I made that sprue and things were breaking, the problem is every one of them was breaking. Like I couldn't get one together successfully. Yeah, I should probably stand apart. It typically signifies shop. Tamiya? Is that what we're talking about? Should probably stand apart. Tamiya. I don't know. It's not my responsibility. They decided to disregard the alphabet that everybody uses. All bets are off then. Could be worse. They might not use the same numbers either. Everybody likes to rip on the French, and I'm not here to defend the French, but I'm just saying, hey, at least they drive on the correct side of the road and use the right numbers and alphabet. Of course, they got them weird ass accents that go every which way. The French go both ways. Yeah, well, those accents they do. Now, let's be careful we don't push those little guys in. Well, now we've opened the whole belt loop. Now we've opened up I keep wanting to call these things belt loops. The whole this left this out of the bag. So now I'm like, all right, I'm going to want to put this on every one of them. It's relatively easy. And it adds a level of detail that this thing didn't have before. The Armor Fast ones really need it. They need something. There are two phonetic alphabets, plus the kanji. It's a lot to learn. No, they should just learn English. English! Still didn't get this right. Yeah, this allows me to have something that goes well before I get to work. It looks really weird. And this, but the same thing happened when I was working on the armor things on the side of the M4s. It looked like crap. And then I painted it and I'm like, "Oh," because I'm distracted by these copper colors on here. So it looks like all like weird. It's like it's got a bunch of piercings. Just what I need, a tank with piercings. They do that too. Speak English? I wish they imported more of their vehicles. Like I've said before, I can't even imagine not driving a Japanese vehicle. I don't care if it's right hand drive. I would drive a Japanese right hand drive vehicle. I'd drive it on the American side of the road. But which has got to be really weird because like my car is like all completely made in Japan. That was just by accident. Like I'm fine with it being made in the United States. I just want it to be, Japanese QC, Japanese design and Japanese QC. That's kind of extreme. Even my tires were made in Japan. Like, okay, that's a bit much, pal. But anyhow, one of these I'm not very happy with. What was I saying with that? This thing's older than I am, probably. Yeah, this is the one that's El Dodo. That's the very first one that I made. But it's got to be really annoying to be in some factory in Japan. And they got to make a bunch of left-hand drive vehicles to get them here to bring them to the United States. But that's the same like, these other countries that have the drive on the same side that we do, that they want to import something to Britain and they've got to make, other vehicles. I don't know that I'm going to be happy with the top of this. It's got so much freaking paint and goop and shit on here. All right, you're scaring me. Loosening up like that. I love the Japanese toilets. Give me a Toto any day. So is every toilet named a Toto Japanese? Because I've seen a toilet that's called a Toto, but it wasn't, it wasn't anything fancy or nothing. So in Asia, they have all three kinds of toilets. The toilets that we're used to, they're magic toilets, and then a hole in the ground where you squat over. I'll take what's behind door number 4. Oh, trust me, you don't want to go there. Japanese toilet. I'm going to get a refresher, but of tea. It actually tastes good. This coffee doesn't taste that bad, but it still tastes like coffee. I'm not really a big fan of the taste of coffee. I just do it because it provides a can-do attitude. Japanese toilet. Washi washi, happy happy. Still too wide. How long did you spend in Japan? You were there a while, weren't you? I know several people that. Actually, I think everybody that I know that has been to Japan really liked it. But they're a bit of a Nepophile. I like a lot of their products, but I couldn't deal with the earthquakes. I just, that's just some creepy shit. I am not earthquake people. That is just unacceptable. I don't know that I'm going to be happy with this one. Let's see if I figure out what's wrong with it, though. What is it that... I think it's this is crimped too far in. I'd be a lot happier if this was made out of sprue, though, because then I know I can weld cement it in and never have to worry about it again ever. You would go back. You lived there 5 years. You got a bolt at 6:30. Should we do a countdown? It's too late. It's already started. No, make it stop. See, if I went anywhere again, I'd like to go back to Spain. That was awesome. And I only got to stay 2 weeks. My country of origin. I love it. Yep. Well, we should be able to prime these when we get home. That's good. All right, so that is complete. That is complete. And then let's take that little bit of glue off, wipe it off. So much easier to work with this than soup. Sometimes I do want it to glue immediately. But so we've got all these earrings, all these piercings on these Shermans. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't get some of that paint off. Get some more of that paint off. We'll try it. I got time for that. Before we go and do the thing I dislike doing the most of my day. See if we can find a brush that's been violated. I guess this one will work. Now, if this is too much glue, I don't think there's anything I can do about it, but it's taken off the olive drab paint. And who knows how many years ago this was painted and baked in an attic. Okay, I see the original plastic color there. Toothpick might be good. Man, I spent a lot of effort on this quote unquote free model. I feel like it's a lot better. Oh, sure you left by now? Yeah, it did start well. It did start well. Yeah, that's the other thing is you do this in the morning and it puts your day in the right direction. Now, if this was enamel paint, wouldn't have touched it. And Model Master made this stuff. I still have it around here somewhere. I can't recommend it anymore. Well, it's not like I ever recommended it. But I tried it, and you could supposedly put it on there and it takes paint off, but it damages the plastic. It makes the plastic all tacky, and I used that once on a T-34-85, and that had painted too thick. And that was a... Sometimes you buy products and they're a miracle. Sometimes you buy a product and you're like, man, why would anybody buy this? Again. You know, they buy it the first time, fall for it. Like, man, I'm falling for that shit. That's garbage. Now, the one thing I had talked about was removing this little nub here and replacing it with the same sort of thing. But what's this thing up here in the corner? There's something over there in the corner that's supposed to represent something else. I'm not really sure what the hell that is. Quickest place to find it is on the internet. M4A1 Sherman turret. Oh, it literally is like a flange. It's literally like a flange. Maybe to like direct artillery fire or something. Maybe it's a hell. It sounds stupid, but this could be a sundial. I don't something like that. But this one here is another loop. I'm going to replace it. Jesus. I put my bloody eye out. I was expecting that to go airborne. I mean, the other Shermans have it. But then the other Shermans didn't have anything in this spot either. Where's this file? It's actually pretty awesome. I actually enjoy doing this kind of stuff because, like, I can walk away from it anytime. Like, okay, it's good enough. It's not like, oh, you got to finish eating your vegetables. Not that eating vegetables would be an issue for me, but oh, that doesn't go airborne. I'm not looking for it. Looking towards it. I see how it's going to be. Now, we need to go ahead and put two little divots. So that when we drill this, it doesn't walk on us. do the same thing here. This is just simple shit that anybody can do. I didn't do this as a kid because, well, we have access to all kinds of pictures now that we didn't when we were kids. And, you know, tools, just something as simple as a pin vise. I didn't have a pin vise when I was a kid. Now, if this was a white metal model, it's good. You know, I'm not going to tinker with white metal models. All right, let's make two more. Before we forget how to make this and have to reinvent the wheel again. This actually worked really well. This thing could probably use a restoration, but that's not worth my time. Just leave it alone. It's just kind of hard to tell how this is going to turn out. After I wipe the super glue down. Dumas. It's kind of hard to look how this is going to look because all the dissimilar materials. What I should have done is this. Make sure the diameter is right. Then dip it in super glue. Hey, it's my first foray into this shit. We're definitely going to be doing more of this, not less. I like this. I mean, not every vehicle has these loops, but we may actually have to go in there with the putty and fill that in. So I may not be able to prime tonight. That's okay. That's all right. Huh! The back of the gun barrel broke off. Okay. Well, we don't really need that. Yeah, this has been... I am going to have to work on this when I get back. But that's fine. Because I want this to look good. At this point, we've put a lot of effort into this thing. Not that everybody's watching, but it's pretty simple. It just takes It takes wanting to do it. And like I said before, I can't wait to have more Shermans. Now, they decided to take the dumb route and added these plates in the same line with the sand shields. So I'm actually going to carve a line that should be relatively easy to do. Do something like this. Right, and now we created a line there, and then we can widen that by taking a little notch out of it or something like that. Taking a little V out of it. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to have to modify the other Sherman that I have already built to bring it in line with these two. It looks pretty good, but it's not going to look as good as these. So I'm going to do that with these as well, these other plates. Since they're all like, they're literally molded into the same line as this, and it should be a separate plate. I might even make this gap a little bit bigger just to make it stand out. Anyhow, to be continued. Fun with Shermans 101. All right, folks.